I grew up in a small town in West Virginia. When I started college in 2021, the world was still living under the shadow of COVID. Most students avoided the dorms, choosing to rent apartments nearby. But I didn't have that luxury. I stayed on campus, even though I often went home on weekends. I wanted the full college experience. On my first day, I met my roommate. We'd exchanged a few texts before moving. But in person, she was different. She wasn't rude, just distant. She carried herself with an odd sense of entitlement. At one point, she even said, "Everyone had their own room last semester. I did too until you showed up." I brushed it off. During the week, she was hardly around anyway, spending most of her time in her boyfriend's room. It seemed harmless, but then came the weekends. That first Friday, I packed my bag, went home, and came back Monday morning at 6. I didn't have class until 10, so I climbed onto my thick memory foam mattress and closed my eyes. 10 minutes later, I felt the edge of the bed sink. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but then the mattress lifted back up. Someone or something had been leaning on my bed. I turned my head. My roommate was lying on her side, facing the wall, still a stone. The next Monday, it happened again, only this time the entire side of the mattress dipped, as if someone had sat down beside me. I froze, too afraid to move. Seconds later, I heard the sound of someone jumping off the bed, and once again she was on her side, facing the wall. I told myself it had to be exhaustion, maybe a dream, maybe stress. But deep down, the third Monday, the experience escalated. I had barely drifted off when the bed pressed down again. This time, it wasn't just what did was touch. A hand, cold and steady, pressed against the back of my neck. My heart stopped. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. The hand lingered for what felt like hours before slowly retreating. I turned. She was on her bed, still facing the wall. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my phone, called my mom, and demanded to leave. The school moved me into a new room. They even asked if I wanted to involve the police. But how could I? I had no proof, just terror, gnawing at me like an infection. For a while, I thought it was over, but then I remembered little details. She once mentioned a roommate who didn't stay long, though she never explained why. Another time, she opened a drawer filled with prescription bottles, maybe more. She claimed they were for a skin condition, but I couldn't shake the thought that they might have been for something else. Then came the day I had to return. I'd left a binder and a book behind. My keys still worked. I entered the old room, relieved to find it empty, and quickly grabbed my things. That's when the door opened. She was standing there, silent. I forced a smile. "Thanks. Got what I needed." I tried to leave, but she spoke. "Where's your new room?" I lied. "First floor, near the stairs." She tilted her head, studying me with an unblinking stare. Then, in a quiet voice, she asked, "Do you sleep well there?" At night, her words pierced me like ice. I didn't respond. I just walked faster, out the door, down the hall, and away. I never saw her again, but her presence never really left me. Even now, I wonder, was it the medication? Was she sleepwalking? Or was something darker moving through her, using her as a vessel? My mother once said, "She was testing you, testing how close she could get before you woke up. And maybe that morning, when she touched your neck, she was one step away from something worse." And that thought is what haunts me most. I can only hope she never had another roommate again, because if she did, I don't think they would have been as lucky as I was.